right, this is the Your Term Problems. I believe it is continued from Chapter 12.3 notes. So we were going to be adding these two rational expressions here. And so we have a common denominator already, so we're simply going to take the numerators and subtract them and put them over the common denominator. And that is about all we're going to be able to do in this problem, because that is a binomial over a binomial, and the binomials aren't the same, so we can't cancel. Remember that you cannot cancel the x's with the x's and the 3's with the 3's and end up with any kind of crazy answer based upon that. All right, now our next two, again, we have like denominators in these, so we're simply going to be adding the numerators, or in this case, subtracting the numerators. So we're going to take the numerators, and we're going to we are going to put them over that common denominator, and I'm just going to write this as the LCD in this case, because I want to look at this numerator and see that I need to factor out a 2 that's in common there. So I'm going to factor out a GCF of a 2, which leaves me a y in the first term and a negative 3 in the second term. And then in the denominator, I see that I have a 2, and I see this denominator is 3 minus y. Well, I'd really like that to look like y minus 3, so I'm going to factor out a negative, so I'm going to make that a negative 2, and then I'm going to have that be a positive y and a negative 3 now. And from there, what I can see is that I can do some canceling. So I can see that this y minus 3 cancels with this y minus 3, and that 2 cancels with that 2. But that leaves me with a positive 1 over a negative 1, and so my final answer in this case is going to end up being a negative 1. And so that will be our final answer there. And that was only because we can make products out of this. And that again brings up the little trick of factoring out a negative 1 when we have a leading coefficient that is not a 1. Now in the next one we have translation problems. So it says the sum of, I need something and, so I don't see an and clear until over here. So this whole thing, 1 more than 3 times a number and 3 times the number's reciprocal, all of that is being added together. So I'm going to first of all let x be my number, and then from there I can start translating. So the sum of 1 more than 3 times a number. So 1 more than 3 times a number. So that's one thing. And then to that thing, I'm going to add 3 times the number's reciprocal. So the number's reciprocal, that, remember, is going to look like 1 over the number. So this says 3 times 1 over my number. So this is going to be 3x plus 1 all over 1 plus 3 times 1 over 1 times x. And so now I'm going to have to build the higher term over here, and that is going to give me an x times the numerator and an x times the denominator. And so now I'm going to see 3x squared plus x, and then because they're over like denominators now, plus the 3. And then that's all over the denominator of an x. And then I want to see if I can factor this. So what I'm looking for is the factors of 3 times 3, which is 9, that sum to 1. Well, that just isn't going to happen, and so there's nothing doing there, but that's what the simplified version would look like. So this is what my first translated version looks like, and then my simplified version. Now I think that this is the last problem in this one. Yeah, there we are. It is the last problem. And that's as far as we're going to go in our beginning algebra class. So I won't have any more lectures for this. I may do some more lectures on some factoring, but this will be it.